All right, Reynaldo Pacheco. Welcome, my brother. It's so good to have you on the Primal Experience Podcast, where we return to the root of who we are. And I always like to start out the conversation by giving a little introduction on how we connected, just to give some context. And so one thing that is so cool about the social media realm is that we can meet each other, we can connect. And I'm currently like at a phase right now with my life where I'm like, fuck social media, man. Like this is annoying. This is bullshit. And then like I get to meet people like you. It's so cool because you actually found me through social media.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Because of all
and
your health spot or your healthy posts and all the wisdom about kung fu, sex, and we have so many mutual friends that I think that's the cool thing about social media, that it's a web that gets the people with the same interests together sometimes.
yeah, exactly. Um, and I didn't know who you were prior to, but then started like we started having conversations going back and forth, and uh I'm like, wow, this is an awesome fucking human being. And you're an actor, you're an artist, you're doing a really amazing things, you've created things in Hollywood. And we just through conversation you shared kind of a little bit about your journey around being in this industry, but then also finding yourself like questioning purpose, identity, like what is the soulful intention. And then we got to have a conversation the other day, and I was it just felt so good to get to know you, to get to meet you. And then we're like, hey, let's just have a conversation, let's dive in more, get to
Do it
know each
again, but
other more.
record
Yeah, yeah, let's get to know each other more, and just share some ideas and thoughts of like how you've been able to kind of transcend one identity to really coming back to the root of who you are. And so, yeah, man, what I don't know, what's inspiring you right now to share?
You know what you just mentioned, it's very beautiful because it's important to always honor where you are. And even before, I was very disconnected from nature, and I was acting from a place of ego. And I don't mean it with a negative connotation. But today I've evolved and I've changed, and it's not what I need. But at the time, I had very valuable lessons and very valuable expansion. What's inspiring me right now is also what you said, to like really go to the core of who am I, and in the sense of using not only my physical body but also my mental power and my energy that's already proven. A couple of maybe 5 years ago, if you mention energy, people will think you're crazy. But today I feel, thanks to science and technology and the open wisdom on the web, we can really connect spirituality with the logic world, and that's what's fascinating me right now, to pick up Buddhism, Christianity, modern New Age wisdom, and connect it to science.
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. These are like the universal truths. I think Christianity, Buddhism, Taoism, all of these religions or philosophies, they do have universal truth. And in how I see it, in our modern society, we are very left brain, which is masculine dominant, logistical mind, thinking all about science and, yeah, these kind of like square operations. Um, and now there is this bridging of physics, of quantum physics, that's coming together where we're able to like, I think as a society, start to really understand like, oh, there is logic to this fundamental feminine spirituality, or just like this kind of etherical ideas that a lot of these religions or philosophies have understood from the test of time. So yeah, what are we had talked about the Kabbalah. That's something that you're really interested in right now, and you've been using the ancient wisdoms to, I wouldn't even want to say manifest, but like find alignment in your life and
So
what is most important.
I was always in a quest to find the truth.
Mm,
Like, this is the real truth. This is the answer. This is, and that's what led me to explore all these different philosophies and spiritual um, groups, spiritualities, religions. And I got to a point, and this is thanks to quantum physics,
mm,
that I got to appreciate all of them and understand that it's not the actual physical act, but it's the intention from where it's coming. And it also helped me to reconcile with Christianity, because I've seen a lot of negative things, and it made me understand that it's not the practice itself, but it's the intention of the person behind. And Kabbalah completed that, because in Kabbalah they taught me that you can hold a cup of water, a cup of tea, and set an intention. Bring it into the light. I hope I want this cup to bring me peace, presence, or just help me focus, or also you can use it for negative things, like, oh, I'm gonna put this so JP falls in love with me. Hey, have a drink. And Kabbalah use that a lot of formatting the objects. But when quantum physics proved, and you can find this online, that you can hold a cup of water and with your thoughts or your voice transform the molecules, change the molecules of the water, and it's proven because we've seen it.
mm-hmm.
That's when I'm like, oh my God, this is this ancient wisdom that was kind of like witchy and fun. It's real, and it taught me to live my life with intention, which is where your questions come from. The alignment to not just take the trash out, but what am I taking out with that trash?
Mm,
And it doesn't have to be too ritualistic, and it helps you to control your mind. Okay, with this, I'm getting rid of that anger that I had last week with this person. Boom. Or when I walk through my house, if I feel that I'm too anxious, I start using my paintings, and I, charge them with, okay, you guys are gonna cleanse whatever's happening with this situation every time I'm here, and you're gonna give me inspiration. And when I walk through this door outside from the front door, I'm gonna just feel peace with what I truly want to do, etc., etc. So he taught me to turn almost my home like a temple and truly use each object, where before I was completely disconnected from because I didn't have that understanding, and it was spirituality that gave it to me first, but it didn't click until I started studying quantum physics, and I was like, oh shit, okay, all of them. You can, and it made, to finish it, it made me fall in love with all religions.
mm,
Because I have my incense right now here running. I have a cross of Jesus somewhere in the house, and I also have my Buddha, and I have, if someone walks in, they're gonna be like, "Oh my God, this guy loves all the religions," and I do, because I think that they're beautiful if it comes from a good intention, from a good heart.
yeah.
Whatever you.
So beautiful, man. So beautiful. And it's super inspiring, like, to hear that everything you're doing is with intention, and that we can completely transform our reality by coming back to the present of like the simple tasks, going to take the trash out. What am I taking out? What am I releasing? What am I letting go of in this act of moving from the trash can to the trash bin, or to the trash bin to the street? And I think it brings more reflection and contemplation and clarity into our life around like what is important and what's alive. Like, what am I holding on to? What can I let go of? What am I here to bring in? And that present can completely shift our day-to-day life if we're constantly in that space, right?
Yes, and something that's very important to mention is that before you begin this process, you need to quiet your mind. You need to get in charge of your thoughts, and meditation will help you to be able to enjoy this wisdom. Because if you have your mind all over the place, if you have your mind thinking about what's happening before, or what something did to you, or this fear or this project, and it's just too much going on always, you won't be able to live with intention. So it's very important to meditate, because what meditation does, it gives you the tool, the ability to control your thoughts. And whenever you want to think about work, you think about work. And whenever you want to think about doing some Kabbalah and taking out the trash, that's what you're going to be thinking. So it all boils down to learning to sit down with yourself, clearing the noise, and then deciding, okay, I'm in the car, I'm driving, where am I going?
Yeah, I love that. Something comes up and I'm curious, because I know you recently made the move to the San Padres Mountains, and into
Yeah.
the forest at least, and up in California. After how long were you living in LA or Hollywood?
Well, not 12 years, but in the city, almost 11 years.
Okay, so
Yeah,
I lived.
middle,
What's that?
right in the middle of Los Angeles, in Larchmont Village.
Gosh, I I can only relate a little bit, and I have compassion, because I was there for 6 months, and I was like, I gotta get the fuck out of here. But I loved it. I loved the energy, the connection that I had with people, but the density of energy was just like, I was like, I'm good. I need to be in nature. And so my question to all of this is, having been in the Hollywood area, I mean, it's full of spirituality. It's full of like different thoughts and different groups that we can dive into. One, when did you come across a lot of this? I think you said something about 5 years ago, but I'm curious, like, when did like the click of meditation, quieting the mind, come into play, and or did that happen at a much rapid rate when you moved out of the city and into nature?
For me, and I think for most of people, it was the pandemic. I feel that was our upgrade. That was our software upgrade as a collective.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because I went home and as an actor, especially before, I was just kind of like acting from a place of FOMO, fear of missing out. My agent was like, you need to go to this thing because you never know who you're going to meet. You need to come here. And I was pretty much using myself to fill seats in people's events, in people's dinners, and always with the wrong intention of getting something out of it. Instead of coming from a place of like, how can I grow and expand from this experience? It was like, what's the next job? How can I get this business or whatever? So the pandemic comes and it forces us to be still. And that was a way of, at the beginning of meditation, I think for a lot of people like myself, because you cannot escape to the movie theater, you cannot escape to a party, you can escape to an event. And I started cleaning first my house, which is also one of the first physical steps, I think, before we go into the inner world, to clean outer space. And when I started cleaning the outer space and everything was really where I wanted, I created a little garden in my balcony. I ordered my book. I put my books in order. I trashed things, and I could feel this lift of like, oh my God, like having physical order helps you to have inner order as well. And I started exploring meditation, and it was life-changing, brother. It was life-changing. And once you find this inner space within you, and like I mentioned before, there's a connection between the outer and the inner world. We're physical beings. I mean, yes, we are spiritual beings, but we're also physical beings. That's the experience that we're having right now. You can't escape from that. And that's why I fell in love with you and friends like JJ and Purium, because you guys have a complete understanding of spirituality is important, but what you're eating and the exercise and what you're doing with your sexuality and all these physical experiences. So when I understood the balance of the order within your inner self and the order outside, you can't control LA. You know, it's a chaotic city, and that's the beauty of it, because that's where all these people come to find themselves and meet new friends and expand. But I was like, oh my God, I need to step away. I need to go deeper in my inner self, my inner order. So I went to nature, and we moved to the forest for 2 months. We found this cabin in Sequoia, all the way out in the middle of nowhere. And if you ever go, guys, there, you need to experience this, because that was the first time that I got to experience the heartbeat of the earth in person. I got it. I was in this cabin in Sequoia, 10 minutes walk to one of the biggest trees in the world. Crazy how, and you know what's crazy, that how we have it so backwards. It's so cheap to go to be there, but in the chaos is so expensive.
Yeah, I know, right?
So when I was there, I could hear this sound underneath the cabin, that it was like a sound bath, and it was beating. And I'm like, well, it must be maybe, I don't know, the AC, the heater. I had no idea.
Yeah.
But when I started hiking and going away, I could hear the same sound.
Whoa.
At night, it was like right in my ears, and it was like a sound bath. I did research, and I found the same sound online, and it's the Schumann frequency, the frequency of love, which way by the way you taught me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that experience, plus seeing the stars at night, actually seeing the stars, and me not seeing them for 10 years in such clarity and
Yeah.
purity, that's when I decided to find a middle point. And that's what brought me to Los Padres High Mountain Club in California.
Beautiful. Beautiful. And as you've been there for about a year now, right?
Yeah.
Are you noticing your practice going deeper, like with more effortlessness, more ease and grace, I should say?
Yeah, for sure. And also, ironically, I'm manifesting more work and like bigger things here than when I was in the chaos. And it's all coming to me. I text message, we want to invite you to this, and here, come and sing in front of this much people in this event in Spain. And before that, I was chasing, trying to go to this dinner so I could meet the right person that would take me to this and invite me to that. And since I've been in this space, it's almost like a joke. How easy it's all coming to me.
Oh man, that's so beautiful. And I think that can be a lesson and a reminder for everyone who's listening, is like, when we take a step back, when we relax, when we get out of the chaos of our own mind and get into the body and listen to the frequency of earth, our energy begins to shift. And we are energetic beings. We are physical beings that are operating in this physical world, and we're energetic beings. And my experience, the more I get into nature, the more I practice breath work, meditation, I eat healthy foods that are energetically rich, the less I feel like I have to do, and things begin to come. And I think, that's not to discount hard work, because there is a level that got you to where you were, right? Like, you put in some egoic, grind and hustle that got you to a place, but then you realized that what I'm hearing you say is you realized it wasn't serving you. And in that pressure and that push, one sec, just had something pop up. Sorry. And in that pressure and in that push, you realized you needed to retreat and come back to nature. And coming back to nature, you found the frequency of love.
Can you
Right?
can you share that with everyone what you told me? about the
Yeah,
Schumann, because that was life-changing
yeah,
information.
for sure. So, you're talking about this frequency called the Schumann frequency, and it vibrates. It's something that we can look at on the internet. We can see the frequency of Earth right now in this moment, and it will fluctuate between specific events that are happening in the world, um, and or energetically, astrologically, through magnetism, through our own energetic frequency. I even know there was a moment where in I believe India, there was this giant meditation. It was like 1,000 people or 10,000 people all meditating at once. And there was a spike in the Schumann frequency that shifted because there were so many people vibrating, operating with intention. Maybe they were meditating on love or like world peace, I believe it was. And so this frequency can shift, but it always stays about in correspondence between about 7 and 8 hertz.
Yeah.
And I was doing some research because, and this is a project that I would like to work on more. And I mean, now that this is coming up, maybe there's some sort of correspondence of getting the right people together. But I have this project in mind where it's basically called it's a documentary where we interview people on the frequency of love and see how that can help people heal. And so it's this idea, it's called 8 hertz, the love virus, because we all just went through this pandemic and all these viruses, and I don't want to give too much away. But so I was looking at the frequency of I can't remember how I came across, but I was basically studying stuff for sex kung fu and orgasm and the frequency of orgasm. And I came across this article by Montauk Chia, and he said that the orgasm vibrates at the frequency of about 7 to 8 hertz. And I was like, whoa, that's cool. And he didn't make the connection that I made, which I then looked at the Schumann frequency and was like, shit, the Schumann frequency, the frequency of Earth is also vibrating at 7 or 8 hertz.
Wow.
and so in that moment, I realized that nature, Earth, is operating out of love. Everything that it's creating, that it's birthing into life, is operating out of love. And when we as humans are working with more orgasmic states, because in part of my work is I teach men how to separate ejaculation from orgasm to be multi-orgasmic men and women, to increase our self-sensitivity, to feel what's really happening in our body and in the world so we can live in these heightened states of energy. We start to harmonize with nature. We harmonize with the frequency of Earth. And in my belief and opinion, I think that when we are in nature, when we are working with nature, we allow ourselves to be in the environment of healing. And so I personally have never heard like the sound of the Schumann frequency. I've been in nature a lot, and I'm inspired to go to the Sequoia forest, to go to this oldest tree, and to just listen, because what you've shared is super inspiring, and I think it can give more context around what's possible and what's really alive out there.
It's also a physical experience. It's not just a sound. You can feel every molecule of your being like tingling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's powerful, and
It's powerful, but it's also a little bit, for me, it was a little bit sad that I didn't know this, and I've been on this earth and that's also something else that happened that will inspire people. I got younger, like I rejuvenated, like my skin looks different, my energy, and all my friends, they see me and they're like, whoa, what you've done, like you look younger. And it's nature, man. It's nurturing. And I'm 40 years old, and I'm going out for
No fucking way. I was gonna ask how old you are, how young you are, and I would say like 33. You like,
but I wasn't looking like this healthy and this uh fresh, I would say. It's and it's I mean, I'm breathing clean air.
mhm,
I'm surrounded by love, because trees and plants and birds, they don't come and deposit their anger, or they just come and they just stare at you and ask for food. And it's a whole different interaction that I've been having here, and it's been rejuvenating for sure.
yeah, it is. It is. And when it comes to, you had mentioned Purium earlier, which is a superfood company that we're both affiliated with. I know you're a part of it, and it's so cool to just have these like inner circles come together. But the whole premise of that is to nourish the body, and when we're nourished, the body can detox. It can just like start to flush out these things, and then the body can go into repair. And nature nourishes us. It nourishes us, yeah, not just like with the minerals and the vitamins of that food, but like the clean air, the the energy of it. The people will literally go into nature to bathe, just like to take a forest bath. There's a Japanese term, I forget the name, but it's called forest bathing. And it's going and walking in whatever way you feel inspired to. And through that can be a meditation. And we start to soak up the negative ions of earth, and then we're able to purge out what's no longer serving us, and then we go into the state of rejuvenation like you're talking about.
I love that. I never heard of that. That's a great concept.
Yeah, yeah. So you had mentioned ways that you had mentioned meditation and how important that was for you. What are some ways that you meditate today, or like if you could share with people like some techniques or things that really worked for you? Because for some people they're like, I just can't meditate, I can't quiet my mind, like blah blah blah. But like what worked for you?
For me, I think you need to try everything,
Yeah.
because it's like medicine. It's like saying, okay, you want to be healthy, but like what foods are good for you, what plants work, what needs your instrument at the time. And I've tried breathing meditation,
Hmm.
where you only focus on your breath. I've tried all the different spiritual gurus that we have, that they have their own meditations. Sadhguru, Shri Shri, what's the other one? I'm just really bad with their names. Tech. Um, anyways, Abraham Hicks,
Hmm.
uh, Joe Dispenza. Like I've tried all of them, and I think it's like going to the gym. Meditation is like a muscle.
Yeah.
Sometimes you work arms, sometimes you work legs, sometimes you work your back, your chest, and all these different meditations at the end of the day have one truth, which is to control the mind.
Hmm.
Whether you're focused on your breath, whether you're focusing on whatever they're saying, the visuals, imagination, your own past, your own future, it's holding the mind and not letting it go places like Instagram or TikTok, where we're 5 minutes in something, or 5 seconds, 10 seconds in one thing, and then flipping emotions and uh, different information.
Hmm.
Teaches you to stay longer. And also as an actor, as a coach, I also realized that the new generations are having a harder time to act,
Mm.
because acting is all about controlling your mind. It's all about making yourself think like another human being for, I don't know, 5 minutes or 2 hours if it's a play. Uh, and from that thought comes the extension, which is the action. From there you clean the house, from there you get in a fight, from there you pick up the phone. But it's all about the inner world of the character that takes to the material world. And the new generations are becoming so disconnected, man.
Mm.
So like, if you want to say acting with me, like the first month or two, I have to like teach the kids to control their minds,
Mm.
because they are all over the place. And if you're not present in this reality, it's very, very hard to be present in an imaginary world. So finishing the question, I would recommend to try all meditations, all of them, because all of them can teach you something, and they can expand your abilities to just control your mind. Even if you don't want to think about anything, you're thinking about something.
Mm-hmm.
So, or even if you're in a neutral space where you are not thinking about something, you're thinking about the neutral space and just enjoying it. So I think it's important to try all meditations for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree, and love that you give that perspective, because there's so many things out there, and it's about finding like what's going to work for you. It's similar to food, right? Like you mentioned, figuring out what foods work well for you. And I want to also clarify, for me at least, when it comes to meditation, I've found that moving meditations have been really, really beneficial.
Mhm.
I'm a very active individual. I like to move my body. So learning Qigong, just like simple movements where I just repeat over and over and over again, connected with my breath. It might be like I'm in a my knees are slightly bent, and I begin to inhale as I raise my arms up and I extend my body. And then I exhale and I just bring my arms down with a slightly bent knee. And I just do that over and over, and I just breathe in, breathe out. And I find that that's been just those types of movements have been really beneficial for me. And then um also fishing, getting out into nature, taking walks, those can all be forms of meditation. When we do an act over an extended period of time, we
Yeah.
can we can realize, like, even going to the gym, you have to control your mind to do a little bit more, to
Also,
focus.
so yeah.
Yeah.
Golf. I have a friend that he thinks golf is the best meditation. He just found golf, and he's in nature and he's kicking the ball, but for him that's it. He found it.
Yeah. Yeah. And so for the listeners out there, like, it's not just sitting like a yogi, right? I mean, that is one form of meditation, but like sometimes I'll just go into nature and I'll sit slouched over, knees bent,
Yeah.
and observe. It could simply be observing the thoughts that are running through and contemplating, and then shifting, being like, okay, I see that this is what's appearing in my mind right now. Can I come back to the present? Can I come back to just like how exquisitely beautiful these birds are, and the songs that they're singing? Or if we're focusing on an intention, we can go into that intention. So yeah, thanks for sharing all that.
I did a beautiful exercise in a class. I downloaded an app. They made us download an app. I'll find the name of the app that I can recommend, because it's a very beautiful app. Um, but it's called well, I'll find it in a second. But anyways, it's an app that has a lot of meditations, etc. But it has the feature that you can put a bell, a Tibetan bell,
Mm-hmm.
and this was a homework. We put a bell every 20 minutes. Actually, I think when we were talking, the bell kept ringing
Oh yeah.
every 20 minutes, not a half hour. It can be a lot at first,
Mm-hmm.
but every 20 minutes this bell rings throughout your day, and literally you have to stop whatever you're doing. You have to take 3 deep breaths, enjoy those breaths, almost like you're recharging energy, and then find things that you like a couple of things that you really like, and like say it out loud to force your brain to like, oh, I like this wall with white with that light and the shades, and going, from black to like really light, and how it caresses it, like getting lost in the detail of what you like. Oh, if you guys want to try that, it's medicine. because what it does, it forces your instrument, your body, to get used to breathing most throughout the day and enjoying the breath. It teaches your mind to be positive, and to wherever you are, force yourself to find something that's good for you, that you like, that you enjoy, and not just get lost, not just like seeing it from the outside, but actually getting lost in the details to expand your presence. So it's a powerful exercise. Sometimes I right now good. It's called Plum Village, Plum Village. It's a
Beautiful.
beautiful app that I highly recommend. It's free and it's in many languages. But sometimes you don't want to be positive. Sometimes, you are in the middle of a fight, or you're in the middle of paperwork, and you don't want to be thinking about, oh, I like paperwork. And what this exercise has taught me is that it's trained me to find everything, pleasure and good in everything, and breathe. I'm still doing it. I've been doing it for like 6 months now, and I can say that it's been a life-changing little exercise that I'm still doing it, because I can feel the difference. I'm so much more positive and present, and just more conscious of my breath.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. I'm definitely going to download Plum
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 Village.
Plum Village, Plum.
Yes, Plum Village, and it's an orange icon. Definitely.
Beautiful.
And it has the feature of amazing uh, Tibetan bells that you can play throughout the day.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, what comes up for me is the shift in perspective and the shift in our perceptive reality. I think
Yeah.
we are the creators of our reality, and it's a matter of how are we seeing the world. And
Yeah.
don't get me wrong, like I went on Instagram today and went on a rant about what I'm angry about with the world. And I think that can be transcendent, it can move energy. And I see a lot of people living disconnected from themselves. And at the exact same time, I'm surrounded by a beautiful reality of people who are living in coherence with their dreams and their passions. I feel like I'm living in coherence with my dreams and my passions, because I choose to see how beautiful this world is. And that can make a huge difference on people's lives. Um and yeah, I mean, I think that is like some of those deeper truths, those original truths from these ancient wisdoms and religions, is like really seeing the beauty that's around us and focusing on that, because that can make a huge difference. And a lot of people are stuck. They're stuck in the head of what's so wrong, especially with news, with media, with advertisements. There's so much lack of like, I'm not enough. And if I have this thing, I'll be better.
Yes, absolutely. And that you just tapped into something that can really change and help the collective to evolve. Because if we go back to the first term that we use, which is everything is energy, everything. It's, if you're constantly looking at the news, focusing on the lack and focusing, the negative, which is, it's normal, because we need that contrast. At some point, you cannot just only be focusing on the positive. You need to also look into the negative and be like, oh, okay, I don't like that. I'm going here.
Yep.
I think that if you do it with more consciousness and also respect, because you got to respect people's journey. You cannot ask for, oh yeah, hear me, look at me, I move this, I'm in the forest, I'm eating healthy, now you have to respect me and do what I do.
Yep.
You have to acknowledge that everyone is in a different journey, and we're all doing some type of work. Even the bad guys, even the really bad guys, the ones that are like doing the horrible things, and they're like leading the war, and they're poisoning our food and all that stuff. We all come from the same source. We are all neurons of Mother Earth, of Pachamama, of Gaia. And yeah, I see that whatever he's doing is going to cause pain to the person and the collective. But in if we step out in terms of seeing how we're like evolving and growing. Sorry, my dog. He wants
I
to
didn't hear.
come.
It's all good.
But if you step out and you realize that we're all doing our best.
Yep.
And even the bad guys, even the ones that are like caught up in those news and those things,
Yep.
I used to be very like pro, like, no, what the fuck? Like, that is wrong. You're burning the Amazon. And I was like posting and angry and affecting me and crying. And I was doing a trip with mushrooms one time.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, no, it's called chocoma. It's what I taught you.
Oh,
I
yeah.
told a little bit before. It's a mix of mushrooms and ayahuasca.
Right.
So I did a journey and I was by the ocean and I saw this spider web and there was this fly that was like desperate trying to get out,
Mm-hmm.
and she was really fighting to set herself free. So my intention, my first reaction was like, oh my God, I'm gonna set her free. And I went and I literally like tore a piece of the spider web and I let her free. And she like went. And I had this voice, man, that came down and said, how dare you to play God? How dare you to disrespect the natural flow of the expansion of the spider, the expansion of this the tikkun, like that, what they say in Kabbalah.
Mm.
And bro, that was huge because I realized that was me all the time, like cutting spider webs and setting flies free. And that became a life at one point. And ironically, I wasn't happy. I was very angry. I was very controlling. And everything that I was doing was to be seen.
Mm.
And that was a moment where the medicine, which by the way, I really, 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 really recommend that you respect. If you guys are doing ayahuasca, if you guys are doing this, just do a little bit, learn about it first, like understand it. Don't just go in a full-on trip of 3 cups of ayahuasca if you haven't done it. It's playing with fire, dance with the medicine. That I really recommend that. Dance with the medicine. If you're gonna smoke some weed, respect it, respect, not just go and do a bong and get fucked up, and because you're opening your energy field, you're opening your aura, and you're losing control. And yes, it's good to lose control. Yes, it teaches you to lose control in some of those experiences, but it's dangerous, and that for me, that moment, to finish this thought, was a life-changing experience in the sense that it taught me to allow people to make mistakes, allow people to hurt other people, allow people to hurt themselves, allow people to touch the darkness, because that's part of their journey. And I'm in a very happy place now, even though, I know there's some crazy stuff going on in the world. I just come to myself and I'm like, okay, I respect your journey, brother. I respect whatever is happening there, whatever is going on there. I respect it. I understand now that it's part of your growth, of your learn, of your lesson.
Yeah. Wow. What a journey that just went on with you. Thank you for sharing that. Something that comes up for me is when I was younger, I really wanted to change the world. I wanted to change people. uh you know I, I had the tools and I had these ideas, and I knew if I yelled from the top of my lungs that people would make a change.
Mm.
And that was all ego. That was like my egoic mind of like thinking that I can play God, right? And then I realized like, oh fuck, I need to be my own change. I need to live it. I need to breathe it. I need to be it. And as I start and I continue to go within, to make my own change, to live in accordance and in coherence with my heart, my soul, and share about it authentically, and what's like working, what's inspiring, what's real and vulnerable in my life, people around me begin to shift. They begin to shift because, and the way I see it is that we can't change people. We can't change anybody. And referring to one of my favorite books, Conversations with God. If you haven't read it, I highly recommend the book. It's by Neil, Conversations with God by Neil Donald Walsh. And there's a chapter that I always refer back to. It's chapter 8, and it's on relationships. And in relationship, the way he explains it is nobody can make us who we are. Nobody can fulfill us. Nobody can make us whole. And at the same time, if we're not in relationship with people, we can't express ourselves fully and completely. So the purpose of relationship is to allow one another to express self fully and completely. And that first happens by us allowing ourselves to express fully and completely, allowing ourselves to be who we truly are fully and completely. And as you have mentioned, there are ways for us to like come back to that through meditation, through intention, through nature, food, like primal living, living a primal experience, which is what I'm inspired to share with you guys on. But at the same time, I love how you say we have to respect each other's journey. And as we honor our own journey, in my opinion, in my experience, as I honor my own journey, I give people permission to honor their journey and to experience and express themselves fully and completely through being vulnerable, through being raw, authentic, wild, free, real, like whole. And so, yeah, man, that's what's alive for me in that conversation is we can't change people. We can't play God. And there's so many people out there who are in this modern day activist world telling people what they cannot do. Like, be vegan, be this, you're killing your blah, 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 blah. All this shame onto people. And that's not doing anything for anybody. If you want to be the change, like Gandhi said, if you seek the change, be the change. Be the change you seek in the world. And so, yeah, man, that's
and it also simplifies your journey, because then you understand that it's not about creating something huge, or because you see some very successful people very angry and very unhappy and very negative. And they're doing incredible things. Empires, presidents of huge countries, with the richest countries of the world, like Russia. You look at that guy, and that guy is full of anger and defensive, and so it teaches you that a real mission is just to like raise your own consciousness. Just be happy. Because if one of you guys, one of us, if one neuron of this beautiful being that we all are, because we are Earth, like we come from the soil, we come from the water, we are Earth, we are neurons, we are just like you have nails, we are nails, we are hairs of Gaia. And if you raise your consciousness, if you're happy, if you're present, if you're enjoying this short period of time that we are in this physical realm, it's much more powerful than hundreds of angry people trying to make a change. And that's what I saw about you, man, because I stumbled into your profile because we have so many friends that you guys are friends, and then I started seeing about all this beautiful wisdom, and you enjoying sitting down in a river and swimming and enjoying the sun, and I think that the community that you're building around see that, because you're not like, oh, how stupid of you not wearing clothes of wearing clothes all the time. Like, come on, man, you got to be smart. The sun, you just like share your experience, and that's inspiration, because inspiration is the real gravity of communities. If you're inspiring, man, you can move mountains.
Mm.
And that's what I saw with the work you're doing, and that's why I'm here with you, because I honor what you're doing, and especially with the sexuality. Sexuality is, as a man, we all struggle with, 2 clicks away and you can watch porn.
Mm-hmm.
Like literally, I can turn off this Zoom and I can just type something, and then boom, I have instant gratification, and our sexuality is so important, so powerful, and so covering shame, and no one talks about it. And you are like transforming the whole thing. You have an OnlyFans account
Mm-hmm.
that's teaching men to enjoy their sex life and use this as a ritual of loving themselves and connecting with your breath and doing tantric work. And for me, that blew my mind. I'm like, oh my God, this guy is using something that could be draining your creative power, could be draining your creative power. That's how powerful our sex is. And you're using it to transform and teach people to actually connect to the creative power. And that all comes from inspiration. You weren't like, oh, hey, Reynaldo, how can you be watching porn? This is fucked up. You were just sharing your experience.
Yeah.
And that's very, very, very beautiful, man.
Yeah. I appreciate that reflection. And yeah, honored and seen in that. And I do want to share my own perspective around this as well. And anger. Like, I think, are you familiar with the map of consciousness, or the levels of consciousness, by Dr. David Hawkins?
I've read a little bit about it, but no, I haven't tapped into it.
Okay, so yeah, he created this map of consciousness, and basically there's a level, and it's a logarithmic exponential map, basically, from 0 to 1,000. And 0 is like death, it's like killing, basically, or life destructive, and 1,000 is complete life affirmation, enlightenment, basically. And at level 200, there's courage, and above, at 200 and above, it is that's life affirming, and below 200 is life destroying, or life taking. And according to his work, about, I think it's about 60% of the population is operating below level 200. So they're operating at an overall consciousness of life destructive. And we as a society do balance the scales for those who are operating above 200 and more. But in that, there's like shame, fear, doubt, anger, and then it goes to, there's one more, I think it's pride, and then courage. And then from courage, it goes up to like acceptance, it goes up to joy, it goes up to love, enlightenment. And there's all these different emotions that we can undulate or fluctuate between on any moment, but also as an overall, like we are operating in a specific level for most of the time. And the more that we do this type of work that you're sharing about, the more we can increase our levels of consciousness. And I also want to share, like, with all of these emotions, these are real, regular, normal things to experience the full spectrum of emotions. It's okay for us to experience shame and guilt and doubt and anger. Like, this is a normal thing for us, and it's healthy for us to express. And it's being stuck in those emotions is what begins to drain us. And so, today I was sharing on my social media, I went on a little bit of a rant about, hey, this is what I see in the world right now. And what I see is happening of people basically just not living their life fully and relying on all these band-aids to solve their problems. And that pisses me off. It is like at the core of me, I'm like, fuck. Like we can do so much better as a society. And I know I have to do better. I know I have to be the change and I have to continue to live that. So, yes, I was angry. And anger also is this like, it's this emotion that begins to move up the scale of consciousness, move up the map of consciousness. So, when we do authentically and in a healthy way express anger, it begins to move us up through courage. And through that courage, we move into acceptance. So we move into joy and love. And so there is a level of expressing emotions, right? And through that expression, we get to transcend, we get to move up and increase our levels of consciousness. And so I just wanted to bring that to the conversation of like, this isn't to say like, don't express anger, right? It's
Especially as an actor,
yeah,
for
go
us
ahead.
as actors, all the emotions are amazing. All
Yeah.
emotions are equally valid. They're, I mean, it's like a painter. He might have a preference of a color, of a texture, a material, but at the end of the day, he uses all the colors at some point. He loves all the colors. So that's something that acting was giving a lot of perspective about what you're sharing, is that, you know, in outside the acting world, we're trying to not feel anger. We're trying not to feel sadness. We're trying not, we meditate so we can be happier. We go to yoga so we can release and be positive, happy. We want to kind of like stay in that realm of emotions, but acting is the opposite. It's like, no, no, no. I want you to tap in your sadness. I want you to tap in your anger. I want you to tap in your whatever emotion you might not consider positive, because characters use that. If you're going to do Shakespeare, you know, you're going to be in love in the first scene, and then you're going to be betrayed, and you want to kill, and you want to be angry. So it's important to release all those emotions. It's important to, and something you said before at the beginning, I was acting from a place of ego, and I was screaming so hard because I wanted people to hear what I have to say. And that's exactly the process. You have to try that in order to understand, like, oh shit, if I scream and no one listens and no one comes, then I'm doing something that it's not working to bring people in. So it goes back to what you said before, honoring where people are. This morning you went on a rant, you were angry and you wanted to let it out. And if I look at your thing, I'd be like, oh, okay, he's releasing that, he's
Yeah.
honoring. Yeah. And it's super important what you say, because the problem with people is that they don't honor their own emotions. They don't express what they're truly feeling. So they're afraid, or they're just hiding, and that transforms into actual physical disease, which is cancer or different diseases.
Yep.
Yeah. So expressing emotion, 100%, super important. Yes.
It's a beautiful dance, and it's like this never ending dance of like meditating, right? To like come back to control the mind, to control like the chaos that's happening in up here, but then also like going somatically into the body and allowing it to move out, because emotion is energy in motion. And if that emotion or that energy is not being moved out, whether that's verbally through a healthy way or through dance or somatics or through acting, like you said, that energy gets stuck in the body and it turns into dis-ease. And so it's super important for us to find ways where we can, one, control, where we can look and observe and be present, and two, that meditation, or a meditation could be just like shaking the shit out of your body and screaming, like just like from the top of your lungs, go to a mountain and just like let it out. or going into a dance and allowing yourself to dance the sadness away.
Yeah,
And I
absolutely.
love that you bring that up with acting, that it's a full spectrum of emotion. And
Yeah.
from the whole, like from the, to bring this whole conversation to a, like to bring it back to where we started, what I'm hearing from your experience is that you were stuck in the anger
For sure.
of like, I'm I'm even though you were like yelling from the top of the lungs, you were stuck there.
Yeah.
And what that did is it drew your energy down.
100%. I was in booking jobs. I was attracting negative experiences, bad relationships, disrespecting medicine. I need, I, and then I had to like do inner work and be like, oh my God, I'm angry. I'm really angry. But I was right. People are just killing animals. People are destroying nature. Most of our peers are living in this map of consciousness that you mentioned, like in the lower parts. And I'm like, how can you kill hundreds of animals just to like start a meat industry?
Mm-hmm.
Like it just didn't make sense. But the moment that you understand that everyone has their own path, their own journey, and we have the gift of free will, that's when you're like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
okay. And also something beautiful that I've learned is that even those animals that are dying or be burned, those trees that were destroyed to like do farming, they agreed
Yeah.
to that before they came.
Mm-hmm.
That's part of their also journey and their growth and expansion. So,
Yeah.
but I mean, it bothers me today. Of course, am I all the time peaceful and happy here in the forest? No, I hear negative things happening, and I feel it. But
Yeah.
what's important is to separate, not separate your emotions, your reality, with someone else's reality. You can feel, you can have an opinion, but when you start controlling and getting involved with people's businesses, I feel personally that was my experience. It didn't work out, and it just drained the shit out of me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. And what I see is that you went back to yourself. You went back to like doing the work on yourself and allowing yourself to move through it, to express it, to increase your own energy, to do the work within. And then the reality begins to shift around you.
yeah. And something crazy that I don't know, but maybe because we created this concept of time,
Mm.
I feel that every time the clock hits 12 and it goes back to 1, I feel that there's a reset, and that I have to again focus on, you know, finding my balance, meditating every day, working out,
Mm.
and maybe it's just part of the game of being in the matrix. That's why we have the 24-hour, and then we have the reset.
Mhm.
But I feel it's like an ongoing thing every day.
Yeah, it's never ending. It's never ending.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I say that life is simple. It's really simple. Um, and that doesn't mean it's easy. It's simple because we've made it way more complicated with all of the stuff around us. And when we get back to nature, when we get back to the roots, we eat clean, close to the earth, and we breathe in fresh air, we get the sunlight. We're surrounded in community. We're living in our passion and our desires. Like things flow, and that also is a challenge, especially in our modern day world where there's a lot of pressure and influence from other forces around us. And so it is a reset. We have to reset every single day to come back to our own balance, our own inner wisdom, our own inner guidance.
yeah, sure,
Yeah. Reynaldo, I want to,
brother.
we're coming to a close here, and I'd love for you to share, what are some of the projects you're working on? What's, again, coming back to like what's keeping you like just alive with life. I know you've got a beautiful painting in the background. You had mentioned some of your projects, and yeah, man, I just love for you to take some time to, do you have any work that you're currently doing as far as movies? Is there any movies or shows that are coming out on your end?
Yes, I I think that I'm in a very fun place in my career, because before I was just, acting because I love to do it. I was just painting because I love to do it. And today, with all this information that we shared today, um, I am finally kind of finding the meaning of why I'm doing this. And what I shared with you guys before at the beginning, intention. So whenever I'm doing a movie or like the awards, I went to sing to this the Platino Awards. They invited me to sing a song in front of 800 million people.
Wow.
And instantly my ego kicked in. You need to sound amazing. We need to find a coach. We need to go back to warm up the voice, diet. You should look good. Like, blah, 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 blah. And then this new Reynaldo stepped in and he's like, wait. This is a great chance. This is a great opportunity for you to share all this wisdom, all this stuff that you've been getting in this quest, and share it with these people telepathically. Like, and I took a complete different approach of the song. I didn't get a coach. Didn't even call a voice coach or even call a friend and be like, hey, how do I sound? Nothing. I just stepped from that place and I started like, okay, like what information I want to put behind these notes, like what's important right now. And even when I went to the rehearsal of the gala, I walked into the huge I don't know the name, stage with 1,000 seats, and I applied Kabbalah. I was like, okay, I'm opening portals here. And I was just like, I'm here. They brought me here, so fuck it. And I started like literally using the place to bring light, to like share what I want to do, and that's different. That I've never done that before. Before, like I said, it would be very focused on the product and the sound and how I look and who next day who's gonna see that, and like how I can continue the ball rolling. And here it was different. When it felt good, it felt like a beautiful experience. I went, I did it, and same with my paintings. This, I call them healing portals. Like every time I'm painting or thinking, I'm using a lot of it's about the thought. What when people look at this painting, what do I want them to feel? I want to like their energy field to be cleansed. And I might be crazy, but I use some Palo Santo and I'm using crystals, and even if no one gets to see my painting, I mean, when I walk in this room and I stand in front of it, I can feel it, whatever I put when I was solidifying colors and textures and crystals. So that's what's happening right now with my career. I think that I'm finally doing it with adding more meaning, not just the meaning of me being seen and getting more jobs with that job. And it's more fulfilling for sure. Because before I was empty, even though I was doing huge movies. After I did the movie with George Clooney and Sandra Bullock, up leading role, it's empty. Like the movie finished and it was all over the world, and I was doing all these interviews and I was living my dream, and I was empty, and that emptiness just expanded even more, and my relationship fell through, and I was very promiscuous and just drinking and doing drugs, and I think it was because, I didn't have the right approach to it. Was all from ego.
Mm.
So that's where I'm standing now, and it feels good. I'm
Wow.
enjoying it. Might change, you know,
Mm.
I change to take a different direction. I don't know, because we're all changing, but that's where I am right now.
Man, what an honor to have you here.
What
Um,
am brother?
wow. Like I'm just I'm basking, I'm bathing in goosebumps right now. And I always say goosebumps are the whispers of God. And yeah, big fucking hug to you, man. I think this is what you just shared was like it's a reminder for all of us, a reminder for myself especially to come back to like purpose, like opening up the portals in these opportunities that we have. For you to step on stage in front of 800 million people viewing you and to come with the fucking intention, the beautiful intention of healing, of love, getting out of like the ego of how am I going to look and how am I going to sound, and just like channeling that is so powerful. And then for me to know that like I'm in connection and I get to share your voice through this platform, and to share your maybe something that you don't share on your media on a regular basis.
No one
Like
knows.
this is the magic, man. And this is like I think the essence of what can really transcend people's reality. So it's such a joy to, and again an honor to have you sharing this, and for me to like be some sort of uh thread on the spider web of life, where instead of we're cutting down that fly, we're allowing the spider web to grow and grow and reach and extend throughout the world. And just by hearing you, I'm like, wow, I can I can be more intentional in so many more areas of my life with the things that I do. And so um fuck, so good, so good.
Same, same brother. So happy to meet you, and I'm a fan. I'm following everything you're doing, and also thank you for healing me, because this sex, being a man today in 2023, it has challenges in terms of sexuality and porn, and just even though you don't want to think about sex, you go into your Instagram and you're bombarded with sex. You go into the news, you're bombarded with negativity or sex, and movies, TV shows. There's an overstimulation of just telling you, drain your creative power,
Hmm.
fuck, jerk off, you're young, enjoy, blah, blah, blah. And following you and seeing you, and even just the moment that I'm like, you know what, I really want to talk to JP. I really want to like go deep, and stop watching porn, and just step away from this. The world you've created is it's so powerful in the community that I instantly released that. I was like, oh wow, okay, you already helped me without even like meeting. And then when I met, I was like, thanks, man. Because that's weird energy. That's the thing. We forget. I don't need to sit down in a Zoom, and I don't need to like talk to you, and like and get all your sounds and phonemes to like, oh, really understand and then heal. We are that, like I just tapped into your world, and I was coming from a humble place of respect and willingness to learn. And I reach out. I was like, man, help me. Like, I would love to like learn more. And you were so opening and welcome. You're like, yes, here you go, and get a slot, sign up. And just by doing that, like I was like, oh, fuck, this is a great reminder. This
Hmm.
is it's not just the physical part. You're expanding your energy, and I tapped into it, and you heal me. So I haven't had a desire to watch porn or jerk off or anything since we connected 2 weeks ago. pretty much.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And as much as well, first off, I want to say you're welcome. And I see you and I honor your work. And I can't take full credit. I can't take full credit for healing. And I'm not going to in that regard. I'm merely a conduit that and a mirror, right? A mirror for your own reflection, for your own healing. Because you initiated it. You took, even though I have the box, the reality where you can look in and be like, okay, maybe I can see a different world. You were the one that took a step into it. And so I receive fully and completely. And I also honor you and your work because you did it. You're doing it.
Yeah.
And thank you. Thank you for helping me heal myself in more of this realm. Because every time I have a conversation with somebody, every time I get to meet somebody, there's another level within me that's being reoriented, reconstructed, where I'm seeing the potential and the power that I do have, the impact that I can make on the world by being a clean vessel, by being an open channel, but also having my own cellular boundaries, right? Like my cellular walls, how I envision it is my cellular walls, because of my reality and the things that I do, are strong, and they're not allowing the toxicity to come in, but they're impermeable, right? Like in the cell wall, there's this transmission, there's these like, it's like a highway that things can get passed through the cells that are beneficial for each other. And that's kind of how I, as I'm having this immediate conversation with you, that's how I'm seeing myself, is I'm able to like pass on your own nourishment and healing within you. And together we all rise, together we all heal, together we find deeper forms of love and connection and intention in ourselves. But it starts with our, it starts with us, right? Like taking this full circle. It starts with us stepping into that. And so
Deciding where you tune, because we're like radio stations. If you're tuning into something that you don't like, it will expand. It will expand, expand, expand. You can hear it for a second and then move on, but when you stay there, oof, yeah, it can become your reality very, very easy. Because how powerful we are.
Yep. And you're tuned in to the Schumann frequency of Earth.
Yeah, talking
And
from the forest of Los Padres.
Los Padres. It's so beautiful, man. Reynaldo, what a joy, what an honor. Thank you so much for being here. I'm gently eager, and I look forward to the day where I get to hug you and just be in each other's presence. And yeah, man, I'm really, really glad that we're building this friendship, because there's I feel your energy. I feel your, even though the screen isn't like the clearest on through this medium, I feel the glow. I feel the glow, and I see your work that you're doing, and I'm again honored to have you on here to share what you've learned and how your wisdom is going to impact the world. So thank you, brother.
Thank you, brother. Thanks everyone that's listening.
Lots of love, man.
Take care, brother.